hello. This is Dion Brown, licensed therapist, self-care expert. We want to welcome everyone to another rendition of our virtual journal tour. This is our virtual journal tour where we are talking about navigating non-negotiable self-care. Navigating non-negotiable self-care. We are so excited tonight as we are talking about nutrition and self-care. We're going to be focusing in on nutrition and nutritional aspects in reference to self-care. We're streaming live on Facebook, under Dion Brown, on YouTube under DMV Therapist, and Instagram under the self-care_therapist. So please like, share, and mention to anybody who may want to tune in. Also, people will be able to go back and watch the broadcast later as well. We are excited tonight because we have two incredible guests with us, and we're gonna share a little bit about them as people log in. First, who is no stranger to our broadcast, is this Mr. Kenneth Clemens. Mr. Clemens is a Marine Corps veteran, health and wellness educator, transformational coach with over 20 years of experience in personal training. After losing 60 pounds and overcoming high blood pressure and pre-diabetes, Mr. Clemens transformed his lifestyle and now empowers others to do the same. Through a powerful blend of mental discipline, fitness, and nutrition, he helps people break unhealthy cycles and commit to lasting change. On this podcast, he's going to share real and raw insights into what it truly takes to build a life rooted in purpose, health, and resilience. So without further ado, first we're going to bring on Mr. Kenneth Clemens. Hello, sir. We want to thank you and welcome you for joining us tonight. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing wonderful. Just got finished biking and hiking today on Father's Day. So this awesome. I'm pumped up.
Happy Father's Day to you today as well. Were you able to touch base with your boys?
Yep, my oldest one texted me Happy Father's Day. That was the first time in 17 years since I got a text message like that. So I'm just trying to hold in my emotions.
All right, that's awesome. All right. So we have one other guest in the person of Shannon Wright. Shannon Wright has a long-standing passion for healthy living, led her to pursue a robust education in career nutrition. She earned a Master's of Science in Nutrition and Integrated Health from the Maryland University of Integrated Health. She is the founder and owner of Life Balance Company, where she empowers individuals with chronic conditions to reclaim their health and rediscover balance. At her company, Shannon offers more than nutritional guidance. She provides a pathway to transformation. Mission is rooted in the belief that food is not just fuel, but a powerful foundation for healing, resilience, and lifelong wellness. She specializes in personalized nutrition and integrative lifestyle strategies that honors each person's unique needs and restores harmony from the inside out. Whether clients are navigating metabolic changes, seeking relief from chronic symptoms, or simply trying to live with more vitality, Shannon guides and supports them every step. Her work is grounded in the understanding that God created the body with an innate ability to heal, and anyone can thrive with the proper nutrition and lifestyle. Let's welcome Mrs. Shannon Wright to our broadcast. Hello there, Shannon. How are you?
Hey. We're Dion and Kenneth. Happy Father's Day to you, Kenneth. I know Dion isn't there yet, but if you're a God dad, then you still happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you. Yeah, they dapped me up a bit and at church and was like, well, to us, you're such a father figure. So I was like, okay. So, but I was grateful, thankful.
Yeah.
All right. So a very important subject related to, self-care that we're going to dive into nutrition. So I thought that you two would be, ideal to talk about what that means and what that looks like from your various schools of thought, and the people that you work with and what you do, as you both, uniquely work with, your own array of clients. And, in some of the pre-show discussion, as we know that everybody is different and their body and their makeup is different, and different things definitely work for different people. I'm sure there's going to be definitely as we proceed, I'm sure there's going to be points of strong agreement and then points of different schools of thought with certain things. So, which is certainly welcome here. So, all right, you guys ready?
Absolutely.
All
This
right,
is
so
fun.
we'll just dive in. So, one of the things. This is let me say this. We have a statement. We have a horrific epidemic here in America. Strong obesity and people with a lot of different chronic health conditions. So this is a very important subject. Nutrition is one of the items in my book, my book, the first book, non-negotiable self-care, that I attribute to being one of the self-care core four items. And as both of you work with and talk with a lot of people around nutrition, um, I'm wondering, in a general sense, what are your thoughts about why nutrition might be important to one's self-care? Yeah, in a general sense, what are your thoughts about why nutrition might be important to people's self-care?
All right, I'll go first because hey, Shannon answer gonna be certified right here. So I would, for me, in a general sense, the basis why you want to take point in your nutrition because you are what you eat. Meaning, like if you eat certain food items that are high in fat, sugary, it's going to program your brain to act a certain way. So just that off alone, creating that brain fog is just one thing why I think people should just be careful what they eat just right off the bat.
Um, so nutrition, the way that I look at nutrition is that it's the foundation of health. It's one of the main foundations of health, and the purpose for food. I think that we have gotten away from understanding that, right? The purpose for food is to provide a source of energy and to the body so that the body can function, and then nourishment, which promotes growth, structure, and health. That is the purpose for food. And so I think that we've gotten away from understanding what the purpose for food is, and it's more fulfilling than actually purposeful and serving a purpose. But nutrition is the foundation of health. And to my brother's point, you are what you eat, and some, and some.
Okay.
Good answer, Shannon. I love that answer. I tell you, Shannon answer is going to be certified all night.
So do me a favor. Can you repeat that? What is the purpose of food again?
So the purpose for food is to provide a source of energy for the body to function, right? So the body can't function without food, without energy. So it's a source of energy for the body to function, and it's nourishment for which it promotes growth, like for young people, for people, cellular growth, it produces growth or it promotes growth, structure, and health. So structure meaning muscle, bone, all of that, health.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely think we're away from the culture and society. I think is definitely away from the
Nothing she said. Nothing she said as Americans we do. Not even close.
right.
Not even close. Because if it was, it wouldn't be an obesity issue here in America.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think I definitely don't think we are uh, dealing with dealing with the purpose of food that way. So
No.
People praise food too much. Like they worship that thing. It's like it's just fuel, it's just energy. So you can do what you need to do. Like it shouldn't be celebrated. This is not a third world country. I understand like food, some countries don't have things. I understand that. I really do. But the way food is celebrated in America, in some places is it's like wow. When Dion, you travel, they don't treat food like that when you travel.
no, it's definitely pretty different for sure.
Mm-hmm. It
That's
is.
all.
Okay. So with knowledge of how important that nutrition is and its vitality for us and what it does for us and the purpose. Why do we believe the area of nutrition is such a key struggle for a lot of people? Why is it such a struggle?
I think I'm just speaking from my own experience. I think it was for me growing up. It was looked at eating certain foods as like a privilege, meaning like if you got a chicken box in half and half, you had money, right? I'm in high school, like especially if you got it all the time, right? That was expensive, and that was like a thing to do to get it. Like it was cool to do. So that's, you just grow up with that in mind, thinking it was just something to do and you're not paying attention to it. I used to love 7-Eleven hot dogs, right? I remember being in high school, you know, I drank underage, okay, whatever. Drinking underage, going to the clubs or whatever, and then coming home from the club getting a 7-Eleven hot dog, right? Like that, the lifestyle I was living almost was conducive to the poor food choices that I could eat from, because there's not too many places of quality food that are open at midnight, 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning, right? But those foods are good, and you can order them at 1 o'clock in the afternoon as well. So once you get conditioned like that, in my experience, your weight and health can spiral out of control, especially when no one thinks there's anything wrong with it.
Right. I think that people struggle because of their mindset and tradition. Food is and has been embedded in culture, like religious practices, social events, family traditions, for
Like
years. For years, people would rather take medication than give up what they want.
Amen. Wow. Amen.
Right? Medication is only masking and managing their symptoms, rather than getting to the root cause of their discomfort. But they would rather do that than to give up what they desire. And the struggle is because they don't necessarily want to go. We don't want to give up what we desire, right? Interesting. I have to do this because what my practice is founded on biblical principles, right? So First Corinthians 6, it says everything is permissible, right? But it's not helpful, right? And Paul says it again, everything is permissible for me, but I will not be brought under control by anything.
Wow.
And so what happens is the mindset of the person, because they desire it, has been brought under the control of the thing that they desire. And they don't realize it, because we have free will, of course, and we'll get into, I'm sure we're going to go further into the discussion, but the struggle becomes really real because their mindset, they've already fixed their mind, is that I want this is what I choose to do, and I have the right to choose this. And if the doctors say that I can have this, but just in moderation, I had this discussion just a little while ago about moderation and why not moderation? Yes, some things should be done in moderation, but if it's poison in the first place, would you eat poison in moderation?
Oh,
Just not eat.
Oh, girl, yes, I did a post on that not too long ago.
I'm just asking a question. I really am, but so. Ooh. To me, that's really, to answer your question. That's what the struggle is.
Yeah. Amen.
Absolutely. And what we do, as a foundational part of the, whether my regular podcast integrated approach or like the virtual journal tour, we do integration of mental health and spirituality. So that's perfectly fine. Well, Kenneth, that sounds like something you said a whole lot of times that we vehemently argued about.
And one of the things, right? I'm not going to pick on you, Dion, because I love you. Right. But one of the things that made me think about it, years ago, I used to take care of these two brothers. They were adults down in Federal Health. They had addiction issues, okay? And I used to always talk to them and tell them like, hey, be careful out here. I think this is like when the horse tranquilizer, when they was mixing the horse tranquilizer with the heroin before fentanyl. And I used to always talk to him. I used to always feed him like, why don't y'all go get clean and go stay at the shelter instead of sleeping on the park bench in Federal Hill right across from Cross Street Market? And he said, because you got to get clean to go there. And that was the first time that it dawned on me. I'm like, you rather sleep out here to do drugs than go inside and get clean. And then I started seeing people with their eating habits make similar excuses. And I'm not going to talk about it, but my mom was one of them. And I moved in with my mother. You know, it was wonderful because she and I get along. But once I showed her how to eat and threw all that stuff out of her house that was causing her high blood pressure and causing her pre-diabetic, at 62 years old, the doctor took off everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, Ma, it's the food you're eating. And she was like, I didn't know, because she thought it was in moderation.
Right.
And I was, to piggyback off what you said, is not moderation if it's causing you harm. Right. Especially curd cake. I got one buddy, he always talk about curd cake in moderation. But I said that curd cake is not helping you towards your goal, then it's not moderation anymore.
So I'm gonna stop you right there, Brad, because I'm sorry. We're gonna leave that carrot cake alone.
That's what everybody say.
Because if it's made right,
Exactly.
if it's made right, it's all right.
You gave me some of that carrot cake. It was good.
I'm gonna leave.
I'm sorry, Mr. Clements. You did have some of my family's recipe carrot cake, right?
And I was like, I see why he liked it. I'm like, don't bring another slice over here. I don't want any more of this carrot cake. It was lethal. I'm like, oh, it melt. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
don't ever give me another piece.
We're gonna leave the carrot cake out of it.
We'll
to that point, let me add in somebody did comment. They said, well, you know, sometimes in rare incidences, it feels like the poison is worth it.
Whoa.
That's what they said. That's what somebody commented.
So wait a minute. So I have a question, because I'm trying to go by the questions you asked, and I don't want to jump ahead. Right?
Oh no, you're fine. We can deviate.
Because can I just oblige me for a second? Right? That's the mindset. That is complete mindset. But let me talk about the spiritual part of mindset and the struggle that we actually have with gluttony.
Come on.
Right. So the Bible considers gluttony as a sin that involves excessive eating and drinking with lack of self-control.
Amen.
Right? It is described as it's the foundation of greed and idolatry.
Yes.
Okay. And so we all, if we're believers, are striving toward God's goal for our lives. In Leviticus, God set a nutrition plan in place that the good theologians will preach and say that Jesus did away with those laws. That's not true. Jesus himself said that he didn't come, right, to do away with the law. He came to fulfill it. And the laws that he was talking about fulfilling, and I'm just talking to my good Christian brothers and sisters here right now. The laws that he was talking about fulfilling were the laws of the prophets who was prophesying that he was coming and what he was going to do on the cross. That's what he was talking about. He was coming to fulfill. He wasn't here to do away with the laws that God had set in place for humanity and for his people. And if you want to argue that it was for the Israelites, it was for those who would come after them also, because these are principles that we apply to our life today. So I'm just going to use the Maryland crab for an instance, because we love our crabs. I know I'm about to get it.
But you're telling the truth, though.
We love our crabs, but he said that there are things that we shouldn't eat, right? So crabs is one of them.
Ooh,
I know. Hold on before you get me. Listen. Crabs is one of them. Crabs is a bottom feeder. Crabs is the dump truck of the ocean. of wherever it is, the bay, it's the dump truck. So all of the all crabs eat the trash of the bay, the sea
Dead
crab.
fish.
It eats all of that, right? And so if it's eating something dead, and then
Well,
you eat the dead,
well,
what do you think is happening to you on the inside? So let me be clear. I'm gonna give you some information here. Is crabs actually the crab meat, because of what the crab eats? It becomes, a part of what the crab eat is, which elevate, if it eats dead carcasses and everything else, then it's not eating anything live, which raises your cholesterol, right? Crabs also raise your cholesterol, and it could raise your triglycerides levels, which causes issues with your liver,
Become
right?
fat.
And if it could cause fatty liver. It could also cause high cholesterol, can lead to what? What is the number one issue among African Americans today? Cardiovascular disease.
They don't tell them nothing. The doctor said take a pill. You be all right.
So hold on. That's without the Old Bay seasoning on it.
Wow.
Amen.
So you just take it from where it is and put it in a pot and steam it without all your other added stuff on. It'll still kill you. Long, but it'll still do it.
But it tastes good though.
But I get it, but again, right? Adding the salt and everything else is the hypertension. The butter that tastes so good will also create high cholesterol, plaque in your arteries, all of these things, right? Lack of self-control, which is gluttony, which then that means that now you have become your gut and your stomach and your desire for this thing has become your God.
Wow.
Dion, we talked about this.
We did.
We talked about this.
And so if this is what we are talking about as believers, Paul just said everything is permissible, but it ain't helpful. And what I won't do is, if I'm pressing toward the mark or toward the goal that God has for me in ministry and everything else, and in order to be able to do it as an epistle, right? A part of the living word, so people can look at my life and go, okay, I can do what she did and I can have this type of life. Then my suggestion is just get to a place where you put take all of the idols and put them back on the altar.
Mm.
Good.
I'm done.
No. Let me tell you something. Dion and I have had this conversation numerous times, because as I was losing weight, I started seeing God clear, because it was hard for me and everything. I don't know the Bible like Leviticus and all that stuff. I just know like what I felt in the process. It had to be in the Bible because I was seeing them clearly. Meaning, as I was losing the weight, I had to change surroundings. So when the Bible say, God is with you, you don't need nobody else. You're confident and all that stuff that the Bible say. Like that talks about your family and friends. He ain't talking about the friends you don't want to hang with. He's talking about those friends that you hanging with that stop you from reaching your goal, stop you from reaching your purpose. And for me, it was that weight loss journey that stopped me from reaching my purpose and being who I am today. So I started seeing that, because I lost friends when I stopped drinking. I lost friends when I didn't want to hang out to the bar. I lost certain family members, not mean lost them. They didn't want to hang with me anymore because I didn't want to eat certain things at Thanksgiving, or I didn't want to be around that because I was trying to do something, right? Now that I reached the promised land and I'm here, it doesn't bother me when I go back and they're like, Kenny, you want to drink? I say no. It doesn't bother me when I go to Thanksgiving and you load your plate up and I'm bringing my chicken and rice, eating it in front of you. And then I pick and choose what I want to eat for Thanksgiving, right? They thought I was crazy until they started getting high blood pressure and pre-diabetic. Then all of a sudden, how'd you do it, right? And I'm like, you got to put God in your weight loss. Once you put him in the weight loss and you do it for him, he will show you and put all the right people in your life at the right place at the right time to reach it, if you so seek it and open to it.
Well,
But
and it's applying principle, right?
that's
It's applying. Can we let's say a little bit more common sense,
all
right?
right.
My grandmother said something to me when I was young that I literally had no answer for. This woman lived to be 99 years old, and she had no sickness, no diseases. She was not on any medication, none of it, right? One day I had, my face broke out, and she said, "Well, what's going on with your face?" And I said, "Well, I think I drank a soda, and then this happens." And she looked at me and she said, "Why would you ever do anything that hurts you?"
Well, and you need to, if you open up a church today, I'm donating. I'm your first founding member. I'll be the senior usher board, passing out flyers, talking about we having fruit and vegetables for dinner. I'm telling you, I'll get ordained today. Hey, you open the church, I promise you I'll be the first one.
Well, Kenneth, she is a preacher and she sings like an angel.
Oh.
I need to go to your church.
I go to CRL, Church and Redeemed of the Lord.
Of course you know where she goes. I
sit next to my brother every Sunday, and we have church together.
Shannon, he's been a few times. He came and got baptized. I'm trying to get him to show up physically at least once a month.
Listen, I love this. I love this, right? That we're having this discussion, because look at, you've been to the church. Look at the pastor.
He's amazing.
No, but listen, he's 80 years old.
I know.
And applying God's word and principles to his life. Now, I want him to change some stuff now that he's getting a little older, but he still applies these things, and he believes in doing these things, right? And so, I mean, Sunday he already told people they big enough and they need to push back from.
He said he got big backs.
He said something like that last week.
He did.
When we all were like, "Oh!"
I love that.
I was like, "Whoa!" But what I'm saying is, just to get back on topic, I will say that a lot of people struggle really is mindset.
Yes.
And I know that people don't want to relate to or be related to as a person who has a gluttony issue, but that is exactly what it is.
You can't get mad if you look. If every year your clothes getting bigger and bigger, you got a gluttony issue. Like the signs are there. Okay, you just choose to ignore it.
It's not even every year sometimes, sir, but it's not just about, and I'll say this, before the listeners, for the people who are on here, size does not equate to health. Because I'm pretty small framed, and you could be 150 pounds and be a walking and ticking time bomb.
Oh yes.
Because your blood pressure can be terrible and high. You could have diabetes. So size doesn't always matter. However, obesity is an epidemic, along with diabetes. And diabetes is considered an epidemic. And so these are issues that are right now the African American community is dealing with on a scale that is immeasurable. And if we continue with this American standard diet, we are really heading down. Nobody will have to, we think that people are after us, we're killing ourselves.
And Shannon, to that point, that's one of the things we were going to dive into this. And I think let me say a story. So I travel. I'm a traveler, and I've went some places for a week, and from consuming the food and my own habits, I gained weight. I went some places to eat, and I lost weight. and I went someplace to eat where the weight stays the same. I ate, and Kenneth knows this, I ate a huge amount of food in Spain,
Okay.
but it did not have a negative effect on
Right.
my body weight-wise here.
Right.
But so for you both, I guess, is the and you made mention of it, is what are your views about, is this an American problem, or have either of you looked at what this looks like in other regions or cultures or countries?
So it's an American problem, and I read a book called Outlive by Dr. Peter T. And also, if you ever watched The Blue Zones on Netflix, I watched that twice. Not saying you got to watch it twice, but it was cool. They talk about the lifestyles and the food choices and the way the food is made. Here in America, a lot of our food is mass produced. So you got to cut corners. Over there, it wasn't mass produced. You ate what you could cook at that time, right? It's not like you can have loaves of bread sitting in the back waiting for you, right? The people in Italy made it fresh the whole time. That was one of the spots that I really paid attention to. Italy and Japan caught my attention. I love those two countries that really do well with their nutrition and longevity. But it's the way they make and process their food. That's all. That's it. They eat the same thing, but it's just made differently. They eat carbs, fats, and protein. That's it. Carbs, fats, protein. Same thing. What we eat is just look differently.
So let me add a little bit to that. And I know you want to get back to the question about macronutrients. We'll get to it, but that is true to a point, because the regulations and standard for food production here in the United States is much different than Europe and other countries, right? And so the process in which the food is made for America, it has more preservatives, it has more dyes, it has more artificial flavoring. Where in Europe, you go get ketchup, you look on the bottle, it is pure tomatoes, other things, like you don't have the added sugar. So you have different ingredients in two different bottles. One from Europe and the other one for the United States or America, and they both have different ingredients. So what the regulations our food industry actually allows in our food is also a problem. And so we need to go there. But then how we consume the food and what we consume is also an issue. Just statistically, I just want to read this to you. So there's a study done that for the American Standard Diet has the highest consumption of processed foods, saturated fats, added sugar, which contributes, of course, to hypertension, obesity, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes. Other countries particularly emphasizes fresh food, right? So fruit, whole foods, low processed ingredients and items, and often have better health outcomes because the food isn't over processed. They don't have 100 ingredients in it. Everything is actually manufactured and made with the proper ingredients. So overall, it's healthier. It's a healthier meal. So when he says it's exactly the same, it's not always quite true, because you can have 2 bottles of Heinz ketchup with the same branded label and turn it on the back and look at the nutrition facts, and it's 2 different products.
Wow.
And so one of the things is the word says that we perish for a lack of knowledge, and we need to be able to educate ourselves on what we're actually eating in the first place, looking at the labels so that we understand what we are eating, and then make better choices. And that will most certainly help. But yes, the American Standard Diet is you have to do away with it. People have to really want to change and to look at different ways of eating to really be healthy.
Yeah, I'm sure people are angry who are looking right now, who heard or were here, because it's Father's Day. So I'm sure there's a bunch, and people about to be 4th of July is about to be cookout season, and
Right.
them people are gonna be putting in their crab orders, and
For sure.
we just told them don't eat the crabs. So, but you're, but I hear what you're saying. Now we hear the term macronutrients floating around in our culture a whole lot, and I'm gonna be honest, until I started talking with people like Kenneth and a few other people, I had no idea what the heck that meant. I just heard people throwing it around. Certainly in the gym culture and the fitness culture, people would talk about it quite a bit. And there's so much information and misinformation. This is one of the problems that you both can probably see. There's so much information and misinformation floating around about health and diet and nutrition. Like, so a lot of people are like so conflicted and confused. And then people are like, you should eat this way. No, you should eat this way. You should follow this diet plan. No, this diet plan. This is better for you. Vegan, non-vegan, pescatarian, paleo. Stay away from alkaline foods. And so people are like, and they don't know what to do. So, so the hard question, I know the answer. I just wanted to throw it out like this: Is there really just one best way to eat, or Shannon, does it depend upon a person's history, genetic, chemistry, et cetera, goals?
So if you're asking me that question like that,
just like
goals don't have anything to do with it.
Okay.
I'm just gonna put that there right now. Goals really don't have anything to do with it more than your body and what's specific for your body, right? And so let's talk about macronutrients for a second. So for the people who want to know, like, yeah, people talk to me about macronutrients all the time. Like, explain that to me. So macronutrients is the food that we eat. Our body actually breaks that down. It starts breaking it down through mastication, how we chew, and it goes through a process called glycolysis, which then becomes molecules that nourish our body and provide energy for our body, right? Those molecules are a bit larger, but they are cellular size to be able to go through glycolysis, right? To go through being broken down to become energy. And that is a macronutrient. That means that is, if you eat something like leafy greens, if you eat a pot or a bowl of collard greens, that's going to turn into carbohydrates because that's a complex carb, right? If you eat some chicken, then that is broken down, right? Amino acids, but it's broken down into its protein, right? So that's a molecule. And then if you eat something like steak or some nuts, then you have lipids, fats, right, that are broken down. So now you have carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids, which are broken down into glucose, amino acids, and lipids, right? These are all things that the body needs to function. Those are macronutrients the body needs for nourishment and function. And I'm just going to go one step further. The micronutrients are smaller, and they are vitamins and minerals. That's why they're called micro, because you don't need as much, but you need them because they're vital. Some of them are vital and non-vital. And that's what you need. So now to answer the question, and here's why I'm saying this, is because we all have 5 fingers. And on each of our fingers is a different fingerprint. Our genetic makeup, our DNA, is just like our fingerprint, and it identifies who we are. There's no one size fit all because everybody's genetic makeup is different. Even if you are just like your father or just like your mother, you still have your own genetic fingerprint. And so you're gonna need your body is going to dictate what it needs in order to grow, to function, and for muscular growth or health, right? These are things that your body will call. How do we understand that or find that out? Or find out what kind of foods you should eat? You need to get with a nutritionist, because that person is going to be able to look at your body chemistry, your body makeup, your genetics, in order to actually tell you this is what your body's calling for. right? So no, just because you want to try paleo diet does not mean that that's going to work for you. I have somebody, a client right now, who was like, I don't eat anything that can see me or look at me. I've been a vegan for this length of years and da 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 da. And I understand that. But if you're eating beans all the time and your A1C is through the roof,
Might want to stop
then we got to talk about the fact that you need protein
to offset it.
to not offset. Let's use the right terminology.
Okay.
Slow down glycolysis so that your body is not spiking your A1C, right? And so some people who have a certain blood type may need protein, and not just plant protein, but heme protein, which means that they need to eat something that can look like at them, even if it's fish. Right? You may not want to eat beef or anything like that. And I'm not even going to add pork into it. So just you may not, but grass fed. But no, everybody, I mean, you do. I even these ketones and ketosis and all of that stuff, people don't even realize if they doing this. I ketogenic diet. The ketogenic diet is used for people who are in dire straight situations with obesity, where it's a life or death situation. A person is not supposed to be on a ketogenic diet beyond 30 days because it forces the body into organ failure.
Jesus, have mercy.
Leon and I had that conversation too. I do the layman terms, so I love.
But when you're talking about that kind of thing, people don't really know what it does to their body, right? If you're a vegan or vegetarian, then it's highly likely that you are totally in need of B12 and B6. And so if you are vegan or vegetarian and you find that you feel fatigued and tired all the time, it's because you're missing B12 and B6, because you only get that from meat. So you can eat all the plants in the world, you're not going to get it. And even if it's in form, it's not the same as eating meat. I'm sorry, did I answer your question?
What makes all of that with difficult for people is not that they don't understand, they don't know what it looks like when they go home. They don't know how to prepare a meal like that. They don't know what goes into it. They don't know the hours that it takes to prep and to have those things organized for them. That's what the behaviors and the habits, that's what I've seen the struggle with. You can tell them, yeah, eat fish and everything that you're supposed to eat, but they don't know how to do it, like how to prepare to sustain it.
But this is the reason why you come to a nutritionist like me, right? Is because then I will walk alongside you, give you recipes, show you what to do, and create a meal plan for you, right? So that you will know exactly what to eat and what to do. But I think that what happens is they pull in all this information. I want to be clear. Sometimes people just don't want to pay to be healthy.
Hey.
They don't want to pay. They'd rather go on a trip. I'm gonna just be honest. Yeah. They'd rather go on a trip. They'd rather go do everything else. But then they will come though when the doctor tells them you need to go see a nutritionist. You need to go because right now your heart is operating at 25%, or your kidneys you are in third stage renal failure. Like those type of things I get constantly. And that's been the thing. People don't want to pay for it until it's you're in dire straits, and then they have the money. Come on, let's do it now. But this is all a culture of quick fix. Give me a pill so I can fix this. And that's really what it is. It's that same gluttony type of lack of control, right? Lack of control, of self-control, still not changing patterns, not having the mindset to say, if I get to the root cause of my problem and do what I need to fix this, then then I'm good. It's the investment that you make to actually have the lifestyle you want.
Mm.
And you tapped into something else that that we wanted to consider. The consistent poor nutrition can eventually lead to a series of health related issues and complications. For you both actually, what are some health related physical health related complications you've seen a lot of people encounter who come in to see you with with poor nutrition, or people you've known? What have you seen as some health complications with people?
Far as the gym, it's the normal high blood pressure, pre-diabetic, like that's the standard for like health conditions. But mainly, most of my clients that I'm seeing now, they've been sitting at a desk all their life and they can't move. They have a hard time, reaching their arm up about that high. So my clientele that are coming in is more of a physical challenge. Now they do have other health issues, underlying health issues that we're working through. But again, we're working on that through their nutrition, not in the gym. So most of them is, just moving. So we're doing a lot of yoga movements. The clientele that I have, like that's all they can do, just yoga move, which is nothing wrong with that at all. Like, I meet you where you are.
So
And the rest of them, just basic movements. They think when you come train with me that you're going to be doing what I'm doing. I'm like, time out. That's no, we don't do that at all. I meet them where they are and work with them. Almost like a hybrid between physical therapy with a little bit of strength training. That's my approach.
So I have the clients that I have now. I have stroke patients, heart disease, clients who have heart disease. I have clients who have had breast cancer, a prostate cancer, renal disease, fatty liver, asthma,
Mm.
hypertension, diabetes, scoliosis, and malnourishment. I had a full grown woman who came into my office. I did a physical exam, and she was just about as tall as me, and she was 95 pounds.
Mm.
So swimming every day, living life, doing that, but she was malnourished. That happens. So I right now I've seen a broad spectrum of people. I have clients right now who have a client who has MS, Lyme's disease. So we're dealing with muscular and nervous system issues
Mm.
that we have to treat, right? And get to the cause of that so that they can have a quality of life. With a client like yours who is having issues moving and possibly arthritis and inflammation, is dealing with that inflammation, right? A lot of people don't even know that taking D3 with K will help with that, where it helps with their joints and inflammation. That will help to kind of get things going where they're not in pain and things of that nature. But again, they absolutely need a nutritionist. This is the reason why we go and get the degrees and all this other stuff, is to help them to be able to, so we know and understand the science. So that when I look at a person, I actually can see inflammation on them without them telling me that they're in pain and in sore. Now I can I do physical exams and look at people's eyes, and I can tell that their blood pressure is high.
Do me a favor. Can you move your seat away from me at church next time so you won't be looking at me?
Need to sit next to you.
She said
It was close.
she said she can look at some. Lord have mercy.
I can't. It's the training, from a little girl, though. Interestingly, from a little girl, I've always been able to tell when people are sick. I didn't understand it and know.
Wow.
I believe that that's a gift. And I could tell. I could tell and always tell. But the interesting thing is even though I didn't understand the science behind things or what have you, I knew what to do to help them.
Mhm.
And I always felt like food was the root cause of some of the issues. And so a lot of it is adjusting the nutrition plan and what people are eating, because they don't understand that some foods are very inflammatory and causes not just sugar, but just some foods are inflammatory, along with maybe some of the medicines that they're taking that's depleting the micronutrients that they need, which causes other issues. So then you have side effects, right? A cascade of things, which causes illness and disease, right? You have the cascade going on. So that's what I'm seeing. But I love the fact, I love when my clients come to me and say, my doctor just took me off of the blood pressure medicine, but he told me I had to keep coming to see you, right? I love seeing the change in the labs and them saying, my doctor told me that I have to keep coming to you, right? Or they're gonna put me back on the medicine. I love those things. So that's what I'm seeing.
Okay.
What I'm seeing is like when you use your gift, when you use your God-given talent, I don't care what it is, like you will always find a way to navigate through this world and make money using your gift, but you see the world completely differently. And just hearing you talk, when you said that's why we all said that was your gift. You can hear it and see it coming from you. And we all have it in you. And I think everyone, Dion too, I tell him all the time, he blessed and highly favored, and favor ain't fair, because I wish I can travel like him. But that's what happened when you do your gift, when you utilize your gift. This is what it looks like. So I just thank you for being on here. I just wanted to share that with you.
I'm
For
glad.
utilizing your gift.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
I mean, this is definitely an entire an entire wealth of information that is kind of coming forth so far. We are definitely not going to get through everything today, so we might have to bring you all back for part two really soon. This is a lot. This is really a lot of great stuff. But I guess with the time remaining, let's do this. With the time remaining, somebody listening or who watches this in real time on any of the platforms right now or later says, I want to make some changes, and people seek out motivation of change. You're talking about what's one of the things that Kenneth used to always preach a lot was discovering your why, right? Why do you want to make changes? Why do you want to make improvements? Shannon, one of the things you said, sometimes people don't move motivation of change until their primary care physician says, hey ma'am, hey buddy, look, listen, your situation critical. Many American people go to the doctors, and the doctors say, kind of semi-casually, I think
Right.
I think you might benefit from weight loss or losing some weight. I remember years ago when I was much heavier, because you kind of seen some of the old pictures, when I was much heavier, my primary care doctor, who's a Caucasian Christian man, he said, your body is a temple, right, not a cathedral. You're not supposed to see it. Yes, he did. Oh, yes, he did. Oh, yes, he did. Oh, yes. Doctor, I love that. Dr. David Mader. I love that white doctor. He was awesome.
I'm going to use that. Hey,
he said, your body is a temple, not a cathedral. Almost. He had been my primary care doctor for at least a decade, and we had the level of relationship where I fell out in the office.
So he said you was just as big. You had the organs and the fourth row up in the.
Wow.
Yeah. So people discovering their why. So somebody listening, somebody on to this evening might be considering making a change, whether it's for weight loss, health and wellness, being fit, better quality of life. Where would you all? I think I know what you both would probably say and share. Where would people probably need to start, or what would be a series of start steps you would give for people to
go to Dion Church and sit in the front row?
Or next to me, right?
Right. So she can look at you. She can look at you.
Where do I start? What do I do first?
So if you were a new person, you were like, you want to
Improve. I want to improve my overall health and wellness. I know my nutrition is off. Maybe my
So
health.
first place I would start is like control what you can control, right? You can control your sleep, your hydration, your stress, the food, right? I would start with those basic ones first, right? Work with that first. Like try to, push for 7-8 hours of sleep. Listen, I know we are human, we're adults, we got children, we may not get it, but the goal is to strive for it, right? Try to get 7 to 8, 6 to 7. That's what we mostly get. Minimum 64 ounces of water.
Ken, if somebody commented, they said they never get 7. They said they
and neither do I.
They said they said it's a hard fight for 6.
Absolutely. I'm no different. If I get 5, I'm straight. 6, you pushing it. 7, what does that look like?
Okay.
Okay.
So I don't want to jump in here. So I'm going to say to that person who's listening this is a good time to start thinking about your priorities. I want to ask you, what is your greatest asset? And if your answer is me, not your relationship with God or anything like that, I'm asking your greatest asset is you. Because if you're not here, none of the stuff that you're trying to do gets done.
Wow.
And so you have to change your mindset. This is a temple, but you haven't learned to honor it yet. But what you do understand by way of principles is asset and losses, right? And if you lose your greatest asset, which is your life, that is a huge loss to everyone around you, including your family and everything else. And so what I would tell you is to prioritize you first, your health. Remember, on an airplane, what do they tell you to do? Put your mask on first and then help everyone else. And so if you are prioritizing yourself, then organize your calendar so that you can go to bed and get that 8 hours of sleep so that you can go through a full cycle of sleep. And I'm telling you this because sleep, if you lack sleep, then your body is not processing food or anything else at all. Like you need the 8 hours of sleep because the body actually cleans. You go through a cycle of cleansing and all of that. And when you don't get that, then you should understand why you're tired. Yep. So I would start with prioritizing your health, and then go see a nutritionist. Come see the people who can actually walk alongside you and help you, right? But I would say it's not 60. I'm going to give you a tip here. You should always drink half your body weight in water in ounces. So that means if you're 150 pounds, divided by 2, and those are the ounces that you need to drink in water. Okay. So that's what you need to drink in water every single day. Yes.
Yeah.
Did you say half your body weight?
Half your body weight in water.
That's why I always say a minimum shoot for 64. Minimum.
No, and then 64 is not enough for a full-grown man. So 72 is the minimum. 72 ounces is the minimum. That's the nutritional standard.
Oh, look at my number. I'm sorry. I'm still stuck on that. I'm stuck. I'm stuck on the half the body weight.
I understand that. But so here's where your goals come into play. If you are heavy, then you do need to see, or obese, do need to see a nutritionist, because then we do it based upon your adjusted body weight, and we figure all of that out for you, right? And so it's necessary for the first step to be that you go see a professional, or you get with a professional who can actually guide you in the right way. But once you make the decision that you're going to prioritize yourself, right? That's the step, because I can send you to go try to eat salads and all of that, but I'm always concerned about what you put in the salad, right? So see a nutrition.
Somebody I know. All right, this is good. This is just a lot, and it's just we need hours. We might have to, Shannon. We might have to get together and plan some sort of wellness conference in the future or something.
Why not? I would love
Because
to.
it's definitely needed in everywhere, the secular world, the church community, something.
Mhm.
So this is really good. Okay, so being true to time, we are out of time.
Yeah.
But let me have you each think of something that you would like to share with our listening audience for 1 minute, as well as share with our listening audience how to, connect with you if they want to set up a consultation for either nutrition or for fitness plan or combination of both, or how would they reach out to um, you all and anything you may be working on. So,
Okay,
uh,
I'll go. Because we'll say the best for last.
Oh, yeah.
I can be reached at performfit.com. That's PERFORM fit.com. That's our full facility. We rent it out to lacrosse teams, soccer teams, baseball teams. We do strength and conditioning there. We do team exercises in there, and also we do one-on-one personal training. Also, I can be reached at Kenneth Clemens on Facebook, Kenneth Clemens on YouTube, and my direct email address is my last name, Clemens, CLEMONS004 @yahoo.com. I've been in the game for 20 plus years, coming from the military. I focus on your habits. You can see a nutritionist as well. I will never disagree with the nutritionist. My goal is to make sure you are doing what the nutritionists say, and we are exercising safely so that you can move freely without injury or harm. And I too can look at you and tell that you're lying if certain things ain't coming the way. I have a hashtag is all hashtag one of us is lying. I don't argue with people. I just say one of us is lying. And I'm telling you, watch them wild out and just act up and be like, I ain't say you were lying. I just said one of us was lying. That's one thing I always say and get a reaction. It's pretty funny.
Well, you can actually reach me at www.lifebalanceco. That's lifebalanceco.com. And there you can reach out to me, tell me what you're looking for in relation to assistance. My focus again is chronic conditions, metabolic issues as well, and GI. So I'll help you with restoring your gut, all of that. I also do lab assessment, just sitting down with you. Contrary to popular belief, doctors don't go over labs with patients, right? They don't explain to you what your labs actually mean. I looked at your labs from a functional perspective, which means that I can see where you are trending to, so we can do some preventative measure or take some preventative measures. Again, my email is Shannon, SHANNON, at Life Balance. That's Life Balance Co. So Life Balance and then co.com. You can reach me there as well. The YouTube and everything else I do have, but I'm going to give you those main things. That's how I begin with clients. Everything is confidential and HIPAA regulations. So
okay.
I will see you soon.
Yep. All right. I want to thank you. Thanks for our listening audience, for everybody that is in, who was able to look and listen and learn as we continue through my men's journal on navigating non-negotiable self-care, and nutrition was a important part of that. So I want to thank you all for tuning in, and everyone on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Please like and share. All right. Good night. You can stay on for a second.